Hi, I'm Jim Gordon, and you're watching Market 1 Minute. Joining us is Jed Richardson, President and CEO of Trigon Metals. Jed, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jim. Good to see you.
Okay, tell us about Trigon Metals as a producing company.
Emerging as a producer is a key inflection point as far as value for our investors. At Trigon, we've just restarted the Combat mine in Namibia. We'll be producing about 8 million pounds of copper over the next 12 months and generating cash flow. This is cash flow that we can use for further development and cash flow that we can use for exploration, as opposed to raising capital on the equity market and diluting our shareholders to fund exploration or development.
And Jed, can you talk about the production growth and production levels at the Combat mine in Namibia?
Okay. Presently, we are operating exclusively from our open pit, but historically, this mine has always been an underground mine. The open pit grades about 1% copper, fantastic grade for an open pit. However, underground, we get to 2.6% copper ore. That will be very meaningful as far as operating cash costs and the production level. What we're really excited about is restarting the underground. So over the next 2 years, that's exactly what we plan to do. We currently have a mill capacity of 1,100 tons per day. We're going to grow that to 2,000 tons per day with the contribution of 2.6% copper grade ore that we'll produce in the underground. That will take our production from the 8 million pounds of copper forecasted for the next 12 months to over 30 million pounds of copper once we get into full production underground in 2024. I think at that level, Trigon will be denoted really as a mid-tier copper producer.
What is the potential for the Combat mine for the next few years?
30 million pounds of production, that's really just the beginning of what Combat has to offer. One of the things that has made this company and this project very attractive is the existing infrastructure. And a major piece of that is the Ass's Far West shaft. This is a production shaft just west of our main mining operation that was sunk into a new area where there's still new resources to be defined. And that in itself is actually just a piece of the potential at Combat. We actually control a 35-kilometer mineralized ridge with over 14 copper occurrences at surface that all need to be followed up on. So over the next 5 years, we have production growth that'll come from the Ass's Far West, but we'll have a lot of exploration growth as we follow up on these occurrences and build out the resource and show the real potential that we have in the Otavi Valley at Combat mine.
Jed, Trigon recently completed an induced polarization survey of the Silver Hill project in Morocco. Where does the company stand with that project?
Induced polarization and geophysical techniques are often a little too techy, a little too geeky for appreciation of the market. But internally, it's something that gets us quite excited. When we started our exploration at Silver Hill, we did some drilling, did some trenching, and it showed a couple of areas of mineralization with a potential of a strike length of 2.5 kilometers. This was enough to get us excited about the property and pursue further work. But stepping back and doing this IP survey, we're now looking at an anomaly over 4 kilometers long and 1.5 kilometers wide. This greatly increases the target that we're looking at. It really increases the potential for what we could have at Silver Hill. So over the next few months, we'll be following that up by restarting our drill campaign and testing that anomaly and hope to unearth a notable discovery and new value for our shareholders.
Finally, Jed, in your opinion, why should investors consider investing in Trigon Metals?
Reasons to invest in Trigon are both macro and micro. On the macro, as an emerging copper producer, exposure to copper is key. Copper is a metal that's seeing new demand as we look to greener energy future. More copper is required for our solar cells, more copper is required for our wind turbines, but more importantly, a lot more copper is required for electrical vehicles. An EV requires 5 times as much copper as a combustion engine. And beyond that, a lot of copper is going to be required as we update a grid in order to power all of these electric vehicles. Another theme that is going to really push copper demand is the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Russia is responsible for 5 to 6% of the world's copper. If we're not trading with Russia, then that copper needs to come from elsewhere. Beyond that, cutting off Russia as a global energy powerhouse is going to accelerate the move towards EVs globally as we deal with higher fuel prices or just a requirement to wean ourselves off Russian supply, all pointing to higher copper prices. On the micro, we are a new producer. This will be our first full quarter of production, and we aim to be cash flow positive this quarter. That turn from being a developer, spending capital, to being a producer, earning capital, is always a great time to invest. But alongside, we're steadily doing exploration. I've already detailed the exploration potential we have at Combat and at Silver Hill. We've got a brand new, enlarged target that we'll be drilling over the next few months. And I think that in itself will be a fantastic opportunity for our investors.
Jed, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Jim Gordon. Thanks for watching this Market 1 Minute on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with other videos that we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click on this list to see other great videos from Market 1. And thank you again for watching.